Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Uncensored CMO. And in this episode, we have a returning guest, the absolutely wonderful Jess Myers, who is the Chief Customer Officer at the Very Group. Now, when I interviewed her last year, she'd recently taken over the role. She was CMO, and this year she's now Chief Customer Officer, having been promoted and overseen her last year of introducing the fabulous Flamingos, their new Fluent device, and doing something that surprised a few people. She ran the same Christmas ad 2 years in a row. I found out why she did that and the amazing results it's led to, and also how they've extended into retail media and also introduced lots of new initiatives that have made Very absolutely fantastic this year. So without further ado, let's get into it. Here's my conversation with Jess. So Jess Myers is returning to Uncensored CMO. Welcome back, Jess.
Oh, John, thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure to have been invited back for a second time. And I think it's almost a year ago we spoke last time. And what a year it's been.
Well, what a year it's been, and we're going to get into that year. But I have to first of all compliment you on winning whatever competition is going for best merch, right? Because tell me about your top, because this isn't just any top, is it? This is an exclusive new top you're sporting.
Well, this has been created especially for the Uncensored CMO podcast today. Being a challenger brand, of course, we're always testing things. So this is a test making its debut. As I was thinking about getting ready to come on today, I spoke to the team, right, need to get organised, think about the great things we want to talk about because there's so many. But first of all, I obviously need to be wearing the brand and coming in a flamingo jumper. We only had a children's flamingo jumper on sale at Very, and so this was custom made by our friends at the Gate, ready for today. So let's make it sparkle.
Let's make it sparkle. So bets on this appearing next year? Hot on the Christmas trending list, do you reckon?
Keep your beady flamingo eye on what's coming up. There's a great path ahead of us, and who knows what other merchandise will be available for sale on Very next year. So I realise anyone watching this on YouTube will get an amazing image right now of the flamingos here. So anyone who's listening, we've got a beautiful setup of flamingos here, and we'll introduce them in a minute because they've all got their own names and story and everything else like that. But what I thought would be lovely is just to connect back to the year ago and bring people on the journey of what's happened in the past year. One of the bits of a conversation I absolutely loved was how you approached joining Very as well, and you talked to me about your 90-day plan, and I even remember the 5 things you said as well, because you talked about engaging the organisation and talking about the biggest challenges, biggest opportunities. You had lovely phrases: what's precious that shouldn't be broken, how can our teams work together, and what would you do if you were me? So you had a lovely approach to your start, didn't you, and how you engaged the business, which I thought was absolutely wonderful and very inspiring. So how's it gone since that awesome start that you had? Well, it's amazing. So I've had this incredible 2-year journey at Very, and it's been just such a joy to be part of the business. 2 years ago was when I first joined retail. And before that, as we talked about, I worked in financial services. So a big part of my induction plan was getting to understand retail and be a retailer. 2 years on, there's still a lot to learn, but we've definitely made some incredible progress. So if I look back over the last year, the things that I feel most proud of that the team have absolutely smashed it on. So first of all, we've had a year of flamingo consistency. We launched last November with our Let's Make It Sparkle platform, and we've had a year of consistency when it's come to delivering the advertising. We've launched the House of Flamingo, which is our fashion platform. We should definitely talk about that because that's absolutely fabulous. About 8 months ago, I got promoted. So I'm now
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So I'm now the Chief Customer Officer at Very. So I sit on the executive team for the business, and it's just such an honour to be able to represent our customer and our colleagues at that senior table. So my role now looks after all marketing and all creative like it did before. I also look after all of e-commerce, digital product, customer experience, data, insight and analytics. So from a marketer, this is like the marketer's dream because you've got all the toys and the tools and the toolkit to be able to bring lots of things together. And one of the great things we're able to do and bring you all those tools together was launch the Very Media Group, which is our retail media proposition. And that launched in September. And as well as all of that, we have added a new partner into our flock, or into our flamboyance. A collection of flamingos is called a flamboyance.
Now, I didn't know that. That sounds
not made. Everyone said, Jess, did you make that
really?
up? No, I didn't. So
flamboyance.
A
flock of flamingos is flamboyant.
Flock of flamingos is called a flamboyance.
That's
Say that
amazing.
quickly.
Yes, yeah.
So we welcomed in Zenith, who are our new media partner, and we've done some incredible work with them since they've come on board. So, what a year.
Yeah, amazing. Well, congratulations on the new role. Maybe let's start there because I'd love to find out how that's gone. So what does that provide in terms of challenge for you as an individual and your leadership and approach? What challenge has that given you in terms of stepping up into a broader role in the organisation?
I think there's a few things in there, isn't there? There's the getting to grips with a new role. there's the role you then play as being an executive leader in the business, and then how you bring all of those things together to deliver on the objectives of the organisation. So for me, I've spent my entire career working in the marketing creative area, but I was taking on board the e-commerce, the data part. But really, as a marketer, your skills are so broad that actually in your role every single day, you already work with all of these teams. And the leadership part is about how do you understand it enough to work out how to bring the teams together, to collaborate really well, to really push boundaries and work really effectively. And so learning all of that and bringing that together has been fantastic, and it's definitely unlocked some brilliant things for us, not only in things like launching the very media group, but also in the way we've approached trading this year during the Christmas period. So lots of opportunity sitting in there. The second bit then is going to be the role that I play sitting on the executive team. As an executive team, how do we help support our colleagues? How do we create vision and deliver on strategy? How do we inspire, coach and delight? And how do we help move the organisation forward? And for me in particular, how do I be the voice of the customer across that table? Because the hat I wear is part commercial and part deep customer experience. And if you start to think about that value creation zone, it's how do you deliver brilliantly for the company and how do you deliver brilliantly for customer? And that's my job, to be able to do that. So it's been an incredible journey, and I'm really fortunate to have a brilliant boss and great peers. So it's been a ride.
Oh, big shout out!
Big shout out!
There we go. That's brilliant. I remember when I first kind of got a role on an exec as a marketer, it can be quite a big change because suddenly you're no longer just talking about marketing things, you're talking about more broad business things, and your colleagues have come from very different backgrounds, operational background or finance or sales, and it's a very different environment. Any kind of advice on how marketers thrive in that kind of executive role?
When you sort of start progressing through the marketing role, you start to get to the next senior role. I want to get the next level, the next level, the next level. And, you start to think you get to the top of an I. But actually what you're after is T-shaped leadership. So a marketer's role is to understand the role they play to galvanise the organisation and drive the business forward. And what does your role need to do to help improve and influence and meet the objectives of all of your peers across the business? Because a marketer needs to understand, how does the business make money? What does risk management look like? How do we work the financial team? How do we work the distribution team? As a few of many. And so, the role is about how you can connect all that together. And it gets back to the first 90 days again. I went round again. I knew these people already, but the question was, how do we need to work together? How can we make help our teams work together better? What are our collective objectives as an executive team, and how do we move forward together? So as marketers, I'd say you would progress throughout your career, continue to be curious, understand how the organisation works. But once you get to the top of the I's, if you so be it, actually you then are faced with a T.
Yeah.
And the T is about how you harness the organisation.
Because I've always think marketers should, in theory, make brilliant exec members because, to make anything happen, you have to understand the customer and you have to understand how the organisation works and how things get done. And actually, I think marketing is one of those roles that does connect the whole business, doesn't it? In a way that maybe some other functional roles don't. So you've got the amazing ability to kind of connect things up for people.
Yeah, I think you've got an amazingly broad skill set in marketers. We always talk about marketing about being art and science, and art is not just the creative work and science is not just the data work. There's a mixture of both in there. And marketers' roles really do need to bring that together. If that is around inspiring and galvanising an organisation behind a unified brand purpose, that's one thing. If it's about how to make customer-led decisions, that's another part. If it's about how to balance the commercial nature of the business, and actually, there needs to be a balance between the two of them, because if you're doing the perfect thing for the customer, that might not meet the needs of the business. So actually, how you balance those with data and insight, influencing people, bringing people on the journey with you, and making sure that the marketing is just a vehicle to accelerate growth. There's a lot of skill set required in that, which is why probably you draw the conclusion that CMOs make very good CEOs.
I think so. Not enough of them there, so we're rooting for them because I think they should be great CEOs. I think you've probably provided the best articulation of a customer audience I think I've ever heard when we chatted last time about Hun culture. It's absolutely amazing. And you also mentioned there as well, your job being to represent the customer in the exec team where kind of decisions get made. How's the Hun culture? What's happened to Hun culture in the last year?
It seems to be the topic. We started talking about Hun culture, and then ITV came out with an entire Hun culture survey, and suddenly the Huns are everywhere. But they were always there. Yeah. They've just been called an audience. So the Huns were brilliant. So it's probably worth talking back. We covered this in the last conversation, so I guess insert link here. I won't go over too much of it again, but when we started talking about, the brand and the role we're going to need to play, this started really from the roots of the organisation and who we are. So our purpose is to help our families get more out of life. So we wanted to give more some meaning. And more for us, it all boiled down to, quite simply, there's good and there's very good. And so very good, there's a vibrancy to it, there's a vitality to it. There is, especially at Christmas, there's a glitter to it, there's a sparkle. And that sparkle is that moment when the customer finds that absolutely perfect item that they're looking for. And that's not necessarily for themselves, that's for other people. And that comes, of course, to the heart of our customer, and our Huns. So we've taken a enterprise value-led piece of segmentation, so the science bit. So who are our most valuable customers? Exactly what do they look like? Where do they shop? How much of their wallet do we have? Where else are they shopping? All the demographic information. We overlaid an attitudinal segmentation to it to understand, hopes and dreams and wants and fears and kind of exactly how do our customers behave. And there's a real nuance to our customers that we could capture an essence known as our own. And this customer is incredibly hardworking. She works hard in her job. She works hard when she's looking after the family. She's incredibly generous. Christmas is her time, right? She is out there in her best dress. She is hosting for the family. She's absolutely bossing it around the Christmas table and with her decorations. She's thinking about gifting and thinking about being generous, and she's had a quite challenging time, and she's definitely experiencing the cost of living crisis. And so our customers have, and I know you loved this last time, a glittery resistance.
That's brilliant. That's so good, isn't it?
A glittery resistance, which is, of course, sparkle.
Yeah.
So when you start to think about that customer and you start to think about Huns, Hun culture speaks to it perfectly. So that's when we said, well, there's very good, there's Hun culture, that's sparkle, and that's where the Let's Make It Sparkle platform came about. And we refer to very in our customers as flamingos in a flock of pigeons. So this is where the flamingos came from. So Kerry, Cherry and Terry were born as our flamingos. And I guess they fly. And the rest is history.
They do, don't they? And they're impossible to miss as well, which is lovely. And they just bring joy, don't they? I mean, that's the other thing is it's just, as you describe the audience, I'm smiling just listening to you because you can imagine them and imagine the joy that this kind of thing brings.
There's nothing you don't smile about when you see a pink flamingo.
Yeah, it's just such a beautiful sight, isn't it? And just it's so warming. And also pink is just is a lovely colour as well. And it just, stands out. You describe this as sea of sameness.
It will not be lost on you that pink is also one of our distinctive assets. Our pink and our pink cube, the flamingos coming together. We have some brilliant tools.
It was
in our
born
toolkit.
to be this way, wasn't it?
It was born to be this way.
Now we're having this conversation you taught me a new word, by the way, the golden quarter. I hadn't heard that before I had the conversation with you. But how important? I mean, I'm guessing it's very important. But how important is Christmas to Very or to retailers in general?
It's incredibly important to all of us. When you speak to retailers, you'll probably find most of them will say that the 10 weeks leading into Christmas is when they'll do 40 to 50% of all of their sales. So it's an incredibly competitive time. We spend the entire year getting ready for it. I would say that retailer Christmas advertising is our version of the Super Bowl. Right? A lot of money gets spent on it or invested into it because there's a lot of money to be made at this time and a lot of needs for our customers to be met. So we spend a lot of time agonising over kind of the golden quarter and getting ready for it. And for us and for most of our competitors, I'm sure, there are multiple moments in there as the customers are getting ready to think about kind of this festive period. It all kicks off in early November. Or even in October this year.
It was early, wasn't it?
It was early this year. It's been incredibly... Black Friday has been an incredibly
Black Friday threw us.
month.
No one knew when it was. I don't know. Well, you would have done, I know. But I don't. Most people are like, when is it? Because in America, I discovered it's the day after Thanksgiving. So in America, everyone's like, of course, it's just that day. But Thanksgiving moves around. I didn't realise this either. So it meant that our Black Friday depends on when Thanksgiving is in America. And that was very late this year. But I was... So I was talking to Sophie Neary, and she was at Google, and she was saying fake Friday got like 80% of the sales of actual Black Friday with the one before.
Yeah, and I think Sophie would have said, and we work really closely with Sophie and her team, you have got to be ready. your plans have got to be formed. And, we were talking about this before we came on camera. Yes, we spend the entire year getting ready for it. Yes, the plans have been well laid. But yes, as a digital business, do we agonise over those numbers every single morning and change our plan accordingly? And Black Friday has been Black November. It's actually started in October. It's 29th of November is when it was this year. It was, the last time we had that shape was 2019. So you're then trying to compare year on year, 24 versus 2019. Yes, there's Fake Friday sitting in there as well. You've got to kind of continue to follow the shape. You then have the last payday for most people for Christmas happen the final Thursday, the night before Black Friday. So obviously in Black Friday it all goes off, but it's not over. John, it's not over at all, because we're now going right into the Christmas gifting. We've had Cyber Week this week. We're now into Christmas. We've now got, 2 and a bit weeks left until the big day. At Very, customers can order on the 23rd and it be delivered for the 24th. Wow. So it is still all to play for. And, it would be remiss of me to say that, it's never one team or one person in a retail business who gets us going. Everyone's required. Yes, the advertising plays a point, but, it's the 4 Ps. The product's going to be there, price, place, promotion. The whole team needs to work together, and you'll find no more collaborative time in a business, especially in retail, as we get ready for this important point. But we should definitely talk about the creative, because as you would have noticed, year on year,
I know
we've kept some consistency.
You have, I know, and congratulations. I want to find out maybe a bit of the background to why. I mean, from a System 1 point of view, I'd go, fantastic, well played, because, we know from the data that consistency actually leads to kind of compound effects, that actually creative gets better the more people see it. But at Christmas, the tradition is actually most retailers or most advertisers in general will change their creative. So what led to you to decide to keep with the existing creative that you came out with last year?
It's really funny. And I was quite surprised that when we relaunched the advert this year, I had a lot of people come up to me and say, well, that's brave, Jess, running the same advert again, which I was taken aback out, because actually it wasn't the brave decision, it was the smart decision. And I'll tell you why. I mentioned Christmas is our Super Bowl, right? So this journey started for us way back when we relaunched the brand. And actually, this is the first time we talked to System 1. And I'm going to give you a lot of System 1 plugs here, because I really believe in your methodology. We're going to invest a lot of the company's money to drive great sales and customer behaviour over this period, in the short term and also in the long term as well. Why on earth would you launch an advert and a big platform without testing it first? It just baffles me as to how that happens. So we ran the script through System 1 methodology. We had some really great feedback. We created the ad. We sent it live. And last year we had a 4.7 star rating, which was brilliant for us launching it first. So the advert ran, the campaign went through. January we come back and do the review again, and we found that from a System 1 testing perspective, we looked at our brand tracking, we looked at our econometrics, we looked at all of our customer lifetime value internal models, and across all metrics, the work had absolutely smashed it. So as we started to think about going out again this year, it was a data-led reason. Why on earth would you not run the existing advert, but with optimizations? So speaking of optimizations, we wanted to make sure we were reaching more of our target customers this year, really driving effectiveness and efficiency. And so rather than having a 60 and a 30 like we did last year, we wanted a 40 and a 20. So the first port of call, System 1. We came back to the team and said, right, we'd like this to be a 40-second advert. Please run this through your system and tell us which were the most effective, efficient, joyful parts of the story that we can weave together. And that's what we did. So the 40-second advert you're seeing now has been optimized through System 1 data to make it the most efficient. And we went from a 4.7 to a 5.4 star rating.
You did, which is really good, isn't it? So, and really presumably good. With the slightly shorter edit, that frees money up to buy more media. Does it give you more coverage? It
does. So we've got the 40-second advert out there, brand advert. We've got a 20-second version of that brand advert as well. So that's been smashing it. So we obviously won System 1's Ad of the Week.
You did. Congratulations.
Second time in 2 years with the same advert. So I'm really proud of the team for that. We're in your top 10. Last year we also found ourselves in Kantar's top 10, second most persuasive Ad of the Week. The team just scooped an Effie for the campaign.
Oh, really?
The Silver Effie was won for the Christmas work last year as well. So we knew we were onto a winner with it. But as well as the brand adverts that you're seeing, the Gate and our creative team have been incredibly clever with how they've used the really effective animation set as well. So we've also got 3 20-second adverts that talk about gifting, gifts for her, gifts for him, gifts for the kids. And if you look really closely, was about to say eagle eye, but the flamingo-eyed of you would notice that we have used the animation sets from different adverts. So Black Friday, toys, a bit of berry pay have all been Christmased up, and we've got those back out again. So that's really showcasing how the team have been optimizing the creative work, focusing on consistency throughout the year, and as well as all that, brilliant advertising for Christmas. We have got a ton of newness that's been launched this year as well. So it's never been more
and
exciting.
It's true, because people kind of think consistency means it's boring or it's not fresh or it's not new. But actually, when you've got a consistent idea as powerful as yours, you can play with it. And the point is people recognise it and they feel that familiarity with it. And that's what makes it so powerful. So the fact that you went from 4.6 to 5.4 without, changing the edit, but not a great deal about the creative, just shows that actually consumers love it even more this year than last year.
And I think it's sometimes lost on me as to why do marketers not do this more often?
Good question.
Why do they not think about it? I think it's your Andrew Tyndall who said this. You've got to start with a cracking idea, right? The compounding effect of consistency doesn't work unless you start with a really strong idea. We had a really strong idea. And therefore we said, well, how do we optimize this and make it work even harder? I think I've just drawn the conclusion that there might be a few egos kicking around in the marketing industry, and we seem to think we need a new advert every single year, but we know that great creative wears in, it doesn't wear out.
100%.
And actually the smart choice is to optimize what you have and get out. You don't always need a new advert.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, you're right about the feedback on being brave. I mean, that weirdly, that was my response as well, because it is counter our culture. I think maybe it's because we have annual planning cycles and we have annual budgeting. Therefore, we go, next year we're going to make a new thing to replace the old thing. We don't stop and think, well, if the old thing works really well, why not do that?
Why don't you not take that production budget and either get it out into more channels or even optimize it further into media and get more of your target customers' eyeballs on it?
100%, exactly. No, it makes a lot of sense. Now, the other thing I did as well, 'cause we're slightly guilty, I have to say, at System 1 of talking a lot about STAR, which is long-term brand building potential, of course. But in the golden quarter, spike matters a lot, which is our short-term sales potential and fluency. Because one of the things you've done brilliantly by creating the Flamingos is create something that people can see that it's you. And it's undeniably, I mean, the thing is, whenever I'm at home and I'm watching the Christmas ads, I know you when you're on, it's like impossible to miss because it's pink and flamingos everywhere and all the rest of it. So, which is great. So we cut the data slightly differently this year as well to look at the top 10, we looked at all the ads, but top 10 ads based on short term and fluency combined. We sort of did this grid, which was fascinating. And you came out 5th in that list as well. So what was interesting is the rundown of the list would be Audi was top with Kevin. That's like 7 or 8 years of investment. Coke with their AI version of their trucks.
The AI version?
The AI version. That was surprised everybody, including me, because I was like, I had that down as a bit of a, why would you do that? But actually what I learned in that experience was the consumer doesn't care how you made it. Like we got obsessed, oh no, AI has messed up the Coke ad, They didn't care. They just loved the trucks and the jingle and all the elements of it.
Trucks, it's the trucks and the jingle that's just so iconic, isn't it?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then Asda were the best performing new idea advertiser.
With the gnomes?
Yes, exactly. Yep. So they in terms of hitting the ground running. It's interesting actually, the average star rating of a new a new idea being launched, about 3.8. So your 4.6 last year was very good in the context of someone doing something new, which is brilliant.
That's always because we put it through the System 1 database to begin with.
Secret sauce.
You'd already learned from it.
Exactly. Sainsbury's with their BFG ads did pretty well. You guys. Morrison's came back with a familiar oven glove. I love that. That felt a bit hun culture actually. But it's just the joy in everyday things.
Yeah.
And they managed to spot a Christmas thing with the gloves that I don't think no one else has spotted and turned it into. It was more musical and theatrical this year. That in fact they
used the Bugsy Malone, didn't they?
Yeah, it was quite. It was it Don't Stop Me Now or Don't Stop Believing? Anyway, something like that last year. And then they went with a sort of theatrical one this year, which kind of gave them a bit more depth and joy to it, which was brilliant. They in fact had, I think, almost exactly the same result as you, as 4.9. He says thinking up to about 5.5. So again, similar sort of step up with the idea as well. John Lewis did pretty well actually. Best scores they've had for 5 years. Lidl, Cadbury, and then Coke's alternative. Coke always do 2 ads. I mean, they've got big budgets. I think they always rerun Holidays Are Coming with a bit of spare media, and then they still do a new
Pocket
thing.
Change.
I know exactly, but I guess if you're bigger, so you can. But anyway, the interesting point about all that was 7 out of 10 were consistent, which just shows the power of which exactly you knew instinctively, the power of kind of sticking with a good idea. So let's talk about the flamingos. I mean, we've mentioned them quite a lot, but tell me how you're bringing it. How are you using these flamingos? Because I think they're a really good example of what Orlando, my colleague, calls a fluent device. And you've created it in a short amount of time, and they're already appearing everywhere. So how do you use these? Where do they turn up? And where can I buy one as well?
Well, obviously you can buy them on very.co.uk. You've got Kerry here. She's retailing at $12.99, and Kerry is our fabulous and flamboyant flamingo. And then you have Coral. Now, Coral made her debut in our October Toys campaign, and she is the fun and mischievous one. So, we've got 2 flamingos on the site right now. But, we've spent an entire year building these fluent devices, and intentionally so. When the Gate created the creative platform for us, we had these distinctive assets. We've spent the year getting them out there across all of our channels. So, we started in Christmas last year. Then we had November was our Black Friday. But then we go into end of season sale that runs us through to about January. So we're talking Flamingo animated world sitting there. Then about February, March time, we launched our VeryPay advert, which talks about the flexible ways to pay for our customers. Again, another animated fluent option with the flamingos in it. Then we came into sort of the May, June time when we launched the House of Flamingo, and I'd love to talk about that. So that was May, June time. Then we came back on with House of Flamingo in September, and that was the first time we'd been on TV with fashion in over 7 years. That's exciting.
Wow.
October was our Toys campaign, which was new, which was where Coral made her debut, and then we're back into Christmas again. So that's a whole year. So I'm just talking sort of TV and kind of broadcast media here. But the flamingos have been embedded across everything that we do. So, through our CRM channels, in the app, across the website experience. It's completely ingrained in colleague culture. So the word flamazing is still very much part of who we are.
I think every other message I get from you has got, probably every message has got flamazing embedded in somewhere and on LinkedIn
as well. If I haven't said you're flamazing or flamingo, I've failed.
No, honestly, it's either a set of flamingos or flamazing or both.
But then we started to think about newness. So especially at Christmas this year, to take example. So one of the moves we made this year was to partner with Zenith. We welcome them into our flock, into our flamboyance.
Flamboyance,
yes. Exactly, into our flamboyance. One of the really important things
Join
for
the
us is making sure that our media and our creative is working really seamlessly together and building on each other. And just like our creative strategy, the media strategy is absolutely rooted in fame, fluency and feeling, something else you'll be familiar with. One of the many great things I absolutely loved about Zenith was the part of their philosophy is about making bold moves. And we're a challenger. We love bold moves. We love to find growth mindset, entrepreneurial spirit, dig in deep innovation. So we love their bold moves. And one of the bold moves they came up with for us this year was a partnership that we had with ITV. Now, at the time, you think it's a bold move. And now I'm sitting here thinking, well, of course we did that. It's absolutely perfect. So the idea this year, it's currently running. We did a partnership with ITV where Alison Hammond, Queen of Huns herself, is the very godmother.
Oh, I love it.
And Alison is helping our customers absolutely boss it at Christmas and sort out their Christmas dilemmas. So there's a 40-second ad and a 20-second ad. Customers are calling into the very godmother and saying, I've got 12 coming around for lunch. How am I going to do it? Well, you'll do it with the Ninja dual drawer air fryer. And the ad again brings the flamingos in. So ITV are brilliant at how they cut together footage of Alison, but also, there's a point in the ad where it says, very flamingos have been spotted flying over the UK, delivering gifts, and the RV formation has come through. So that's the Alison Hammond work, and great to be able to get our brands involved in that. We also, of course, had our plushie toys. So the flamingos are here. We're selling those on site now. Again, we're testing flamingo merch. Watch the space. I expect you'll see more of that coming through. And then we also launched this year our gift guide. So not a catalogue, but it is a return to print for us. We wanted to find a new way to speak to our target customers who might not know who we are. So we partnered with the Mail Metro Media to create an inspirational gift guide showing the depth and breadth of our department store. Of course, the flamingos are everywhere. First order discount codes for our customers, really great use of tech to be able to kind of scan over images and deep link straight into the site for the latest offers. Another really great way to kind of test all of that. And as you'll start hearing me talk about a lot of these ways we're getting the flamingos out, you'll also hear me talk a lot about our brand partners. And that's a really important point because, as mentioned earlier, we launched the Very Media Group this year, and introducing our brand partners is a really fundamentally significant part of all of that.
Wow. No, tell me more about that, because that's a big deal as well, isn't it? So, turning yourself into basically a media company. Am I right in saying you can do everything from kind of creative production through to execution? Yeah. How does it all work?
So we've been doing retail media for a while, actually. we're already experts in it. We've been doing it for over 10 years. But what we wanted to do is reposition our retail media offering to make sure we are really kind of creating the uniqueness in our proposition and adding the value to our brands and our brand partners. What they're all after is awareness and consideration, and that's a really big part of our plan too. So retail media is essentially the ability to be able to offer great service to your brand partners and hyper-personalised target advertising to your customers whilst monetizing your assets. And so we've got a really unique proposition where we bring together our award-winning creative platform plus our unique data set. We've got about 500 data points on every single customer. When we bring those things together to create either highly bespoke, targeted, or broadcast advertising and campaign solutions for our partners. So that is the use of our creative platform. So whether you're, the use of creative platform, our in-house creative studio that we have, but also access to our data, targeting, insight, and measurement capability as well. And that's what the brands are looking for. And really, retail media is just another media option these days. You shouldn't be able to tell the difference between where it starts and stops. So you'll have seen retail media opportunities throughout all of our Christmas. So Christmas, Black Friday, you'll see it in sale. The gift guide, we had over 60 different brands involved in the gift guide. The work we're doing with ITV and Alison Hammond. So all of these are very media opportunities that not only speak true to our brand, but also gives our brand partners great ways to tap into target customers.
I think retailers, particularly the last couple of years, seems to be waking up to the power of their reach, because you talk to so many. How many people interact with you every day? It must be
we have about
hundreds of thousands.
1.8 million visitors.
1.8 million.
Yep.
That's amazing. So the reach you have as a retailer that other brands could be benefiting from by partnering is enormous.
That's it. And it's not just the scale. What they also want is to speak to the target customer specifically, specific shopping behaviours, specific product needs, how we can speak to, how we can connect the brand with that customer, and how we can speak to the customer about the brand they're after. There is a serendipity in there about how we bring those things together.
Yeah. Now, you dropped in House of Flamingo, which just sounds really intriguing, like it's a fashion house. But yeah, what's House of Flamingo?
So we always knew when we launched the Let's Make It Sparkle platform and we introduced the animated flamingo world, it worked absolutely brilliantly for us, but wasn't going to necessarily translate so easily into the world of fashion and fashion aesthetic. So we needed to create a platform that we could talk to fashion about. So we went back to the strategy, back to the purpose, and started to think about the distinctive assets. When you think about all the assets we have in there, there really is this air of sort of flamingo energy in what we do. So we wanted to capture that and bottle that. Then you start thinking about the customer. And our customer, we know she has a passion for fashion. She's after aspirational yet affordable fashion. But, her fashion choices, she finds it quite challenging. Her life has changed. She's now a mother of two. She's juggling the needs of the family. She's not quite sure how to put the outfits together. Her body image and her body might have changed quite a lot, and she might not know how to shop anymore. So we want to help her, find confidence in fashion again. We want to help her unleash her inner flamingo.
Of course.
So that is how the House of Flamingo platform was born. It is a physical destination for all of our style, whether that is fashion, clothing, accessories, beauty products, for our customer to be able to come and interact with us. So it keeps the Fluent devices coming through. So what you expect to see in the advertising is unapologetically pink. Fabulous in every single way. Flamingo cues throughout. There is the flamingo pose that has been launched, which is...
Now, we were trying this out earlier as well.
Trying this out earlier.
There will be a photo somewhere on LinkedIn with
there
this
is the
as well.
flamingo pose. And actually, for the last piece of work we did, the last TV advert we did, we had 2 real flamingos walking around the gardens of a country manor. So that was our September autumn fashion moment. And again, System 1 tested this for us. So this is the first time we've been on TV with fashion for over 7 years.
Wow.
Now, Nat Rep 2.8.
Yeah.
With our custom sample, we got 5.7 out of 5.9 stars.
Wow, so that's a big jump up, isn't it?
Really big jump.
Yeah.
So it really resonates with our target customer. So you can expect to see more of the flamboyance from
that's
a fashion
amazing.
perspective.
And is this so in terms of House of Flamingo, is it an online thing or does it turn up physically as well? Can people go and try stuff on, or has it come to life?
Right now, it's a physical. It's a location online, so it's a central location on the site.
Yeah.
But who knows? There's so much opportunity in there. Isn't there?
It sounds quite experiential. The way you talk about it, I envisage something you can go and experience and. and discover as well.
And I have to calm myself down because when I've got a very creative mind. I'm also incredibly impatient.
Yeah.
My team will refer to me as an impatient perfectionist, which is probably quite hard to work with. But I get really excited about these things. I think there's so many ways for us to connect with our customers. There's so many ways to get the brand in their hand, and lots of opportunities. So, if we thought this year was big, next year's going to be massive. There's tons to go after.
Well, what I love about the platform you built and the idea and the characters and everything else is you can easily see many directions it could go in, which is a lovely problem to have, isn't it? Just kind of with so many ideas you can go from. And that's when you've got a great creative platform. It just almost invents itself, doesn't it, in terms of where you can take it.
That's it.
So look, we talked a year ago. You've just done your 90-day plan. You're in a new role. We're getting into the second golden quarter that you've kind of been through. As you look back at the last year, what are the big learnings, maybe for you personally, that you've taken out as a senior marketing leader that maybe people listening could kind of take inspiration from? What have been your big tips or learnings from taking on a new role and delivering another year of Flamazing results?
I think one of the big things, and whatever we've done over the last year was almost what we're going to do over the next year, which was double down on the plan and double down on what works most. As a leader, we're there to help set vision and coach and develop our teams. And the biggest learning for me is unlocking collaboration. Even if there aren't silos there, it's how do you get the organisation working together to create something brilliant? So, and not when just the teams we have internally, the way we've worked with the teams externally, again, that gives you the consistency. Yes, we invited in Zenith joined us, but we've had now an extra year of working with The Gate, our creative partner, and working out how we can set that team up for success has been really key as well. So the key things are be really clear about the strategy, be really clear about the customer, be really clear about how you can double down to achieve growth, measure and agonize over everything, and as we've just done, optimize it and get it out again.
I love that. And look, you've been a walking proof of that, which has been amazing. Just on the relationship thing, you said you brought in Zenith, you've continued working with The Gate. Any tips on how to get the most out of the sort of third-party relationships as well? Because it's often it can be a point of tension, can't it? And aligning objectives. And also, I'd imagine that rerunning creative you came up with a year ago, you can imagine the agency go, oh, can we not create some more new things? As most creative agencies are desperate to sort of put their creative hats back on. But yeah, how have you managed those relationships?
Yeah, so really well. So they always have to be an extension of your existing team, and that's how we work together. When we went through the process to appoint not only The Gate but also Zenith, we went through a really consistent pitch process. But a really big part of that is finding an agency partner who shares the same values as you. So we're looking for swagger, no ego, humble, entrepreneurial, growth mindset, wonderful collaborators, and the sort of people who want to get into the trenches together. We did that with The Gate, and then The Gate helped us onboard Zenith, and we all got in the trenches together this year. I recognise what you say about advertising agencies want to do new work, but once they share the same objectives and you're all using the same data and you're working together really clearly, the answer is, it's the smart one, not the brave one. And they recommended it at the same time as us. And we said, well, actually, rather than using production money to make a whole new advert, we'll optimize what we have and we'll use it in all these other magnificent ways to make the campaign even bigger, even better, and even more successful. Yeah. And that comes with sharing the same values, sharing the same objectives, having really open, trusting relationships, and building on it. You don't want to be zigging and zagging and chopping and changing. I'm sure even Andrew Tyndall said in his report, the more you change your agency, the less consistency you have.
Yeah.
So we've got our family, and we're locking in together.
No, it's so true. And this is something I'm really, really keen that everyone understands, is that consistency of agency relationship leads to better work and better results. Similarly, I was chatting to Lucky Generals and Yorkshire Tea recently. Yeah. They've done amazing work. And again, they're not producing a new thing every year. It might be every 2 or 3 years. But because it's working so well, that basically frees up the budget in the future to go and make some more bold advertising.
And they've been working together for years, haven't they?
Yeah, I think it's at least 8 years. Yeah. I think it's 27, maybe 7 years, 2017, 2016. I think it's 2016, so about 8 years. Yeah, which is amazing. And their market share has just absolutely taken off. You said just swagger, no ego. You had a few other things. Is that something that you've just come up with now, or is that something that you've embedded as a concept of what you look for?
I'd love to say I came up with it just now, but I think if you ask any of my team, they'll say I use it all the time.
Oh, do you? Where's it come from? Is it something you invented?
I think it's things I've learned along the way.
Yeah.
Think of, things that I find important to how I operate, but also important to the culture of our business. We have an incredible organisation. We are a Northwest business. We're proudly in the Northwest. We weren't born anywhere. We're born in Liverpool. There's definitely a certain culture in our company and in the local community, but also in kind of what we're trying to achieve as a business. But I think that applies to not only us, but anywhere, because, growth mindset, entrepreneurial mindset, creative innovation, absolutely. But, you always want to work with decent human beings.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Decent human beings. And again, so swagger, no ego is, you want swagger.
I love that, because I've never heard someone say that before, but it makes a lot of sense, because swagger can come with ego, and can be a destructive thing. But low ego means you can learn from other people, you take other ideas, it doesn't have to be your idea. But the swagger and the confidence is also so important as well. Yeah. So that's a beautiful combo. What are the other ones, by swagger, no ego? What was the second one?
I talked about growth mindset, entrepreneurial spirit.
Entrepreneurial, yeah, essential.
The other one I'll talk a lot about is pressure makes diamonds.
Ah, good. Well, hence the golden quarter should be the most sparkling one then, on that basis.
Very sparkly, and as I keep saying, it's still all to play for. Every single day we'll turn over a stone.
Brilliant. Well, listen, good luck. Good luck with the next few days. I hope it ends on a high. Hope you get a break as well. I mean, presumably you'll be checking the sales every hour or so, won't you, from now until...
Yeah, I'm obsessed. I spend, every 5 minutes refreshing a graph to see what direction it's moving into.
I think the closest I can come to your experience, years ago, I was working in drinks, and I was working on Di Serrano Amaretto, and we had a number of liqueur brands that 90% of their sales happen in December. I mean, it's like Warnick's Advocaat, for example, like the Snowball. It's literally, no one buys it all year, and then suddenly week before Christmas, but your entire year, you had to wait for the final week. And it was whether or not Tesco or Sainsbury's had put you on promotion, literally dictated the whole year. But we used to get dressed up in kind of these kind of elves costumes and go into store and help put the boxes on the shop floor and stuff. But I remember that working right up to Christmas Eve, trying to get displays away in store.
Yeah, well, in retail, this is what you expect. This is our time.
Yeah.
And if you don't love the hustle of every single day, this might not be the right place for you. But it's all about how you create the right culture and the right energy. On Black Friday we had flamingos, people dressed up, running around the place. Our Christmas tree in the office is gorgeous. It's got 100 flamingos over it this year. So it's
beautiful.
So creating that the right environment. Yes, it might be difficult, but that camaraderie, it's super important.
But you're right about the pressure made diamonds, because actually I remember when we called it Project Snowball, was when we all ran around in store dressed up in teams and we competed with each other. That was the highlight of the year. It might be pressured, but actually that was the thing everyone remembered and still talk about today, sort of thing.
It brings a huge amount of energy, and that's so important.
Well, listen, thank you. Congratulations on another great year. And look forward to seeing where the Flamingos take us next.
Maybe I'll speak to you in a year's time.
Indeed. Look forward
to it. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Thank you very much for listening or watching Uncensored CMO. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please do hit the subscribe button wherever you get your podcast. If you're watching, hit subscribe there as well. I'd also love to get a review. Reviews make a big difference on other people discovering the show. So please do leave a review wherever you get your podcast. If you want to contact me, you can do. I'm over on X @UncensoredCMO, or on LinkedIn, where I'm under my own name, John Evans. Thanks for listening and watching. I'll see you next time.